Hello everybody, my name is Christian Charlo. Welcome to our market report. Today we're Friday, May 3rd. Today folks, I want to make a follow-up. On the last market report, we talked about a sector movement that we had in the insurance and the solar sector and the airline sector on good earnings. Well, this week what we had a lot of economic indicators. The employment report, we had ISM data that came out today, but today we clearly officially starting a bullish cycle on the Dow Jones, and it's mostly because we had a positive employment report data. So the strategy for today is, first of all, I want to make a follow-up on the last week market report to tell you to take some profit on some stocks that we showed you last week that are taking 5-6% and more. And I'm going to show you the list of the sectors that stood out in the American markets that are starting a bullish cycle. And I'm going to give you a gift today, or I'll give you the top picks out of the sectors that we think were the best in the American markets. Also on the Canadian side of the stocks that are actually in a breakout. This is in our analyst charts on marketgurus.tv that you can have access for free for 10 days just by clicking on the link below. So let's start. So with this, the full line insurance on April 23rd, when we talked about it, it was starting officially a bullish cycle. There are some stocks that were actually in a breakout today. For instance, AIG, ever since the breakout of April 23rd, 9.78%, take some profit. MetLife, 7.18%, take some profit. HARTFORD Financial, 5.48%. On the airline, what we had ever since April 23rd was some stocks like Delta Airline, and Delta Airline took 7.07%, so definitely you can take some profit on that stock. On the solar sector, though, we had Trina Solar, which took 13.5%, so definitely you have to take some profit on that stock, and SUNPOWER, 35.3%. So this is it. You have a lot of stocks that are actually good for taking some profit. But what about actually what's going on right now? On the Dow Jones, you see here, it's clearly starting a bullish cycle. We're clearly breaking that resistance on the Dow. So a lot of sectors are contributing. You have the consumer staple sector, Costco is in a breakout. You have the financial sector. A lot of stocks are in a breakout actually on that sector. But the sector that we found that stood out and where we put an analyst choice that we think is one of the best, it's on marketgurus.tv that you can have access for free for 10 days. It's in the consumer discretionary sector, and the stock is ANN. Because ANN, what we like about this stock, look at that triangle pattern on the yearly basis. So right now the stock is clearly getting out of that triangle formation, and we think the stock has some potential until it reaches that resistance at 32.83. On the Canadian side though, the energy sector, yes, it's still neutral, testing that resistance, but there's a stock that we found that really stood out, and it's TRICAN Well Service, because that stock is clearly reversing its downward trend, and we think the stock has some momentum until it reaches the overbought situation around 93% for TRICAN Well Services. So on the American side, it's ANN, and on the Canadian side, it's TRICAN Well Services and the energy sector. Elsewhere on other stocks that we shown you in the full line insurance and the airlines and on the solar sector, take some profit, folks, to benefit from the increase that we had. So with this, don't forget to always follow us on Facebook, on Twitter, and you can have access to all those breakouts and many more out in the sectors on marketgurus.tv that you can have access for free for 10 days just by clicking at the link below. That said, see you next week for our market report.